vous avez profané des messages de mort envers et son équipe.
On ne peut pas parler maintenant.
We're gonna kill you one by one. We start constantly. We went Cavendish. We went Mossad. We're gonna empty the fucking store. Forget you own everything.
We should have known who this was and that he was a client and that we were in potential danger from this guy. What happens if he goes drinking again, you know? And what happens if he goes drinking again and he's carrying a weapon?
Monsieur Walid,
Oui,
comment allez-vous?
ça va bien. J'ai passé là-bas au hasard. C'était le destin qui veut comme ça. Qu'est-ce que tu veux que je te dise, madame? C'est pas moi que je fais ça exprès, là. C'est le destin qui veut comme ça.
It's a bit chilling, actually.
Alex Alavoie for Rebel News, and today I'm following up on an incident that took place in Montreal when a man entered a store, Jewish, though not outwardly identified as such, and allegedly made death threats against employees and the owner. That man, Walid Chbichib, is a Canadian citizen of Tunisian origin who obtained his citizenship in 2004, according to documents he himself provided. Following these death threats, the court has now ordered a new psychiatric evaluation to determine whether he is fit to stand trial. But this is not the first time Chbichib has faced such proceedings. Looking into his criminal record, I discovered that he had previously been arrested for allegedly attacking a police officer with a kitchen knife, according to court record. Few public details are available about that incident, but he was found not criminally responsible due to mental illness. A psychiatric evaluation produced in 2021 by Montreal's Pinel Institute note that Chbichib appeared preoccupied with Jews. According to the report, he allegedly told the police that an RCMP officer advised him to arm himself with a knife to defend against Jews. He also claimed to be the leader of Muslims and fear for his life. The evaluation also notes that he refused to meet with a psychiatrist, and a criminologist concluded that the risk of violence remained, particularly linked to feelings of persecution. This raises a crucial question. If Chbichib truly suffers from severe mental illness, why was he released despite warnings back in 2021 about his risk of violence and his obsession with Jews? In just 3 years, he has been involved in 2 major incidents posing a danger to others. And yet, he may once again be released without criminal responsibility? What is the government doing to protect the public? Apparently nothing. Catch and release. Even Chbichib himself admits that he is sick, that he drinks alcohol, and that he has not been taking his medication, a very real risk to public safety. He insists, however, that this latest incident has nothing to do with the conflict in Palestine and Israel, and claims he has nothing against Jews.
Vous avez des remords?
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire, des remords?
Avoir des regrets?
C'est sûr, mais c'est pas un vidéo à montrer aux médias, là. Voyons, mais c'est des êtres humains, les Juifs, quand même, là. C'est comme...
Pourquoi alors avez-vous dit ça? Pourquoi avez-vous dit que je vais vous retourner en Israël alors qu'ils ne viennent même pas de
Je
l'Israël?
m'en rappelle pas, madame. Je te jure, je m'en rappelle pas.
Parce que vous avez quelque chose contre les Israéliens. Est-ce que ça a un rapport avec ce qui se passe en Palestine?
Non, madame, j'ai rien à voir avec ça. Même, je suis athée, là. J'ai rien à voir avec ni les musulmans, ni les Palestiniens. Je m'en fous, qu'est-ce qui se passe, là.
Yet, on the day of the death threats, an anti-Israel demonstration was taking place near the targeted store. Simple coincidence? In a climate of rising anti-Semitism in Montreal, and with a man openly obsessed with Jews, What will happen next time? I attended his first court hearing, where I was able to question him as he left the courthouse.
Pourquoi vous avez profané des messages de mort envers et son équipe?
Je ne peux pas parler maintenant.
Monsieur, pourquoi vous avez fait
Je suis
ça?
malade, madame.
Vous étiez un ancien client, vous les connaissiez?
Non,
Pourquoi
je suis malade. Je suis malade, donc je ne peux pas parler avec vous.
Est-ce que vous avez un message?
J'étais sur l'alcool la journée où c'est arrivé, je suis coupable et je suis malade, j'attends mon rapport de médecin.
Est-ce que vous avez des regrets? Est-ce que vous avez des remords pour ce que vous avez dit, ce que vous avez fait?
Je suis coupable, j'étais sur l'alcool, je ne me rappelle pas qu'est-ce qui est arrivé.
Est-ce que vous regrettez ce que vous avez fait?
Je suis coupable, madame, j'étais sur l'alcool et je suis malade, là. J'étais avec le juge et j'étais malade et j'étais sur l'alcool et je ne me rappelle pas qu'est-ce qui est arrivé.
When he denied the allegations, I continued my investigation. That's when I found a 2022 judgment from Quebec's Housing Tribunal, where Shbichib appeared for failing to pay rent. I discovered that he lives in subsidized housing. When I went to the building to speak with the landlord, I instead came face to face with Shbichib himself. He admitted to me that welfare covers nearly all of his expenses.
Et vous me dites que vous êtes encore subventionné pour votre logement?
Non, je ne suis pas subventionné, là. L'aide sociale, ça fait 3 mois.
Qu'est-ce que vous recevez comme aide gouvernementale?
995 et l'appartement c'est 829 et l'hydro c'est $50 et le téléphone c'est $50.
Mais ça, c'est le gouvernement qui vous le paye? Je vous ai
Je
demandé.
ne travaille pas présentement, c'est qui va payer ça alors?
C'est le gouvernement? Mais
C'est
comment?
l'aide sociale, madame, j'ai dit
L'aide sociale?
Ouais.
I also questioned him directly about the death threats he had made.
Et ça va bien jusqu'à que j'ai fait cette gaffe-là, j'ai bu une après-midi, là j'ai trouvé le technicien devant moi, je l'ai insulté comme ça au hasard.
C'est pas insulté, monsieur. Vous avez fait une menace de mort contre lui,
contre
lui et ses employés.
Madame, excuse-moi là. Moi, je suis une personne minime ici dans la société là. Vous êtes en train de me suivre là pour la communauté juive là, je comprends pas là. Je comprends pas pourquoi. Si
vous avez parlé d'Israël, monsieur. Vous avez dit on va tous vous envoyer en Israël. Vous avez fait assez de crimes ici au Canada.
We're gonna kill you by one. We start from constantly. We went Cavendish. We went Mossad. We gonna empty the fucking store. Forget you own everything. You take your fucking package. We go to fucking Israel. You get many crimes here in Canada.
Puis, j'étais sous, puis ça arrive à tout le monde. Il insulte les musulmans, il insulte les chrétiens, il insulte des chrétiens orthodoxes. Il y en a du monde qui insulte, il y en a du monde qui déchire le Coran.
C'est pas insulter, monsieur, c'est une menace de mort, monsieur.
Il y en a qui ont fait plus pire que moi. T'as pas été les suivre. Tu viens me suivre moi pour j'étais sous là. Voyons donc.
Vous avez quelque chose contre les Israéliens ou les Juifs?
J'ai rien contre eux.
Mais ça paraît pas dans ce que vous avez dit, monsieur. Vous les connaissiez? Vous étiez un ancien client?
Je le connais pas.
Vous les connaissiez parce que vous avez déjà fréquenté?
J'ai pas fréquenté, là. J'étais un là. Je fais une fois par année, là, ou 2 fois par année, par exemple. Là.
Mais vous saviez qu'il était juif?
Je suis pas un dépanneur que j'ai passé là par là-bas au hasard. C'était le destin qui veut comme ça. Qu'est-ce que tu veux que je te dise, madame? C'est pas moi que je fais ça exprès, là. C'est le destin qui veut comme ça. C'est le destin qui a voulu que vous rentriez dans cette business-là et que vous envoyiez des messages de mort. J'ai pas envoyé un message de mort. J'étais pas conscient, madame. Je me rappelle pas qu'est-ce qui est arrivé. Vous avez l'air très conscient, par exemple, sur la vidéo. Dans tes yeux à toi, oui. Mais vous avez même nommé les employés? J'ai pas nommé personne. Oui. Non, madame. Vous avez dit... Je le connais même pas avec le nom, là. Pensez-vous que vous devriez faire face à des conséquences pour ce que vous avez fait? J'ai rien fait de mal, là. Je suis coupable, je m'excuse pour eux et dans ça, là. C'est pas la fin du monde, là. Voyons donc, pourquoi on veut gonfler le problème à ce point, là? Vraiment, je pense pas que ça va tourner. Ça va tourner comme ça. Je suis une personne minime, là. Pourquoi vous êtes en train de me faire la publicité, me gonfler la tête avec ça, madame?
Finally, I spoke with one of the victims of his threats to gather their reaction.
We had to make a couple of attempts to get the police to even take a report, but they finally did, and we didn't hear anything, and until it was a while later that we'd heard they had arrested him, but they would not give us his identity. So we had no information on who the person was because they were protecting his identity until a little while ago. We sort of figured out who he was and that he was someone known to us from some time ago. So there was he knew who we were. And so this makes it even a bit more personal because, it wasn't just a random person coming in making threats. Now we know that it's someone who knew who we were, who made those threats against us. The police we were never told about either his criminal past or his feelings about Jewish people. And so, it's a little bit surprising the way this has, unfolded.
For a while, he was claiming that he didn't know you and the business. And then he finally admitted it, that once he came and he was a former client. Can you clarify on your side? Did you know that man?
Yes. So while we probably haven't seen him in over 10 or 15 years, I imagine we do recall him being a client here. So we know who he is, and because I have some staff that's been with me that long, and he clearly remembers us. So there's definitely a personal connection there. Yes.
Mais oui, j'ai fait des là-bas avant, c'est vrai, oui. Mais c'est arrivé au hasard devant moi, là. C'est, comme j'ai dit, là, j'ai pas fait tout ça exprès, là. C'est le destin qui veut comme ça, j'étais pas bien.
Do you have any concern to see him being released in the street with what you know now?
My biggest concern about that is that this is an individual who is known in the criminal justice system based on what I've read, the reports of some criminologists, that he has a hatred of Jewish people, that he has psychiatric issues and was at one point refusing to be seen in psychiatry, and that and a couple of years later he comes into our business and makes personal death threats against us, telling us to go back to Israel and so on and so forth. It's concerning to me that no one reached out to us from, the police or to let us know, you might want to, this is who it is, here's a recent picture of him, and you might want to be, just on guard to make sure that this person doesn't show up on near where we live or where we work. And we simply had to find this out through you.
And I want to have your reaction towards what he actually answered to me. He said, it's just words. Nobody was hurt.
Les gens, c'est un petit
Opinion.
accident. Vous allez faire qu'est-ce que vous voulez faire, madame. Moi, j'ai rien fait de mal et j'ai pas touché personne. C'est juste des paroles.
What do you have to answer to that?
Coming from somebody who's been arrested for assault, actually, I do take words of violence very seriously. As far as I'm aware, violent speech like that, hate speech and death threats are a crime. And coming from someone who's, been arrested for assault, I think we have to take that very seriously. And I think we should have been given a little bit more of a, perhaps a warning or a little more information from the police about this guy. Because I don't know, do we have to wait until he actually kills or injures somebody based on his hatred? Since
you are voiceless for this trial, if you had something to say to the judge, what would it be?
I'd be, look at the past, watch the tape again, watch the tape in the context that, this guy's known and vocalized that he hates Jewish people and that he's being arrested for assault. I mean, put it all together. This isn't just a one incident. This is multiple. This is a pattern of behavior and a pattern of speech that's pointed in a bad direction. And at some point, somebody has to take a stand and make sure that this guy is dealt with in a way that makes any kind of sense. because this doesn't make sense. And the fact that we were left sort of hanging out there with no knowledge and no information on on his identity or his past, it's only through your work that we even know any of this. And we should have been told that. We should have known who this was and that he was a client and that we were in potential danger from this guy. What happens if he goes drinking again, and what happens if he goes drinking again and he's carrying a weapon? At least if I had known his identity and I could spot him, and it just seems to me that it was information that we were entitled to have.
Thank you for watching. I will let you draw your own conclusions. Let me know what you think in the comments. This was Alexa for Rebel News. At Rebel News, we started a petition at deporthamas.com because at Rebel News, we believe that if you are here in Canada and you are not a citizen and you are chanting anti-Semitic slogan, calling for the death of Jews, or you are committing criminal acts and vandalism and glorifying terrorist organization, you should be deported back in your country. So if you agree, go and sign the petition at deporthamas.com right now.